Okay, thank you for your patience, everybody. Welcome to the school committee meeting for Tuesday, March 22nd. Mrs. Pazerski, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Stetson?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Here.
Mr. Greer?
Here.
Mrs. Briggs?
Here. Will you all please join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight. If you notice, we don't have any microphones, so I'm going to use my loud voice. If you can't hear me, just let me know. If you can't hear any of the members, please let us know because it's important that everybody can hear what everyone else is saying. Also, if you're here to speak tonight, I'm just going to ask you to talk a little louder and use your gymnasium voice so we can pick you up on the camera over there. We're going to start with our informational. Superintendent Grantino.
Okay, I will be brief. I will also would like to indulge the committee to begin these comments with a moment of silence for Norwell High School junior Nick Wanderley, who passed away tragically this past weekend in a car accident that actually happened here in Marshfield. So we'll just bow our head for a moment for Mr. Wanderley and his family. Thank you. Thank you. And our thoughts and prayers go to the other survivors of that accident that are also high school juniors in Norwell. Okay, well, I'm going to start off just briefly, and I'll try not to steal too much of Mr. Miller's thunder because he's probably going to talk about the road race, but I just want to thank the MEF, the Marshfield Education Foundation, for once again putting on the best road race you could ever imagine. Not only is it a great road race, a wonderful site, but what they do for our teachers, for our students is amazing. And they raised close to $60,000 with almost 3,000 runners and volunteers all involved on a kind of cold and dreary Saturday, but you'd never know. It was festive, it was happening. The restaurants down there were busy and supportive, and it's just it's one of those events that really makes you feel proud to be part of the Marshfield community in any shape or form. And as you know, those dollars go to teacher grants that come in every year. I think they're hoping to reach the $1 million mark this year with their grant application process, and that's over the last 12 years of giving out these grants. So that's pretty amazing. They inspire innovation and creativity in the classroom, and so it's not only helping the teachers, but in turn it's helping our students. And we just can't thank the MEF, Mr. Gilberti, his whole team there, and we'll probably have them in later on in the spring because they will be announcing this year's recipients of the grants coming up soon, and then they'll have their event in May, I believe. I think they have an executive, I just can't remember it off the top of my head, but we'll have them come and fill us in on what they're doing moving forward. Also, just want to give a quick promotional, and then this will carry on for the next meeting or two. WOMP, We Are Marshfield Project, Ms. Pazerski and Ms. Carmen's baby. They started this many moons ago, and it's continuing strong, and our high school seniors and volunteers from all over the community will be working to help clean up the town on Friday, April 29th, I'm sorry. And we're already checking on the weather, and it's going to be great. I'd like to also mark the calendar, another important event that's coming up. It's not until May, but I think it's important to make note of it, and we'll get it out in the newsletters between now and then. May 18th, we're going to have the Not My Kid presentation. You may remember from about 5 years ago, I had two SROs, school resource officers, that I became friendly with when I was in Canton. One was the Canton SRO, and his best buddy was the Brockton SRO, and they were on the National School Resource Officer Committee, and they created this presentation to bring to parents that kind of just taught them about some of the signs to look for, everyday signs, little things, big things, whatever that might just be right under their nose, and how to deal with it, and what steps to take when you think that something might be going on around drug use or drug abuse. And they're informative, they're serious, they're also funny, they lighten up the mood a lot, and it was, I remember when we had them here before, every parent that was in the audience was better informed and thought it was one of the best presentations they'd seen in some time. D.A. Cruz is going to be there, Chief Tavares and his folks, the RSROs will be there. So March 18th, 7 o'clock, we'll send out plenty of reminders before that. We were trying to do it earlier, and a couple things got in the way, but I'm excited to have that event on May 18th. I also want to congratulate our all-town strings performers who after the day after our last meeting, performed at the high school, and this is everybody from our elementary to middle school and high school performing alone and together, and it was just great to hear all that music in the auditorium and all those parents together and fans of music together and friends of music where we make some money. And it was a great night, and the kids sounded awesome. Also, our drama club hosted this past weekend. They performed their Midsummer's Night Spring performance at the high school music festival, along with 5 other schools that performed at Marshfield High School. But they did so well that they're moving on to the state semifinals. So that's pretty cool. I don't know the location, but it's going to be coming up in a few weeks, so we'll get some more information out. But our drama club, and that's their cast and their crew that are going on to the semifinals for the state. So that's pretty impressive. And
Sean
working
Baldwin,
really hard.
location.
Oh, Mr. Baldwin, location?
Joseph Case High School in Swansea.
Joseph Case High School in Swansea. Dr. Martin's old stomping ground, so we know it well. So yes, thank you, Ms. Baldwin, who's a big part of that, and
Congratulations.
just fantastic. And, definitely trying to put 2 and 2 together. I'm very linear in my thinking. So Mr. Costello will be able to put it together. So
He's breaking the rules by yelling out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yes. And I also want to congratulate our boys hockey team, not only for the great season, which we spoke about at our last meeting, but they were awarded this past weekend the James Malloy Team Sportsmanship Award. So that's Division I High School for their actions not only on the ice but off the ice and stuff that they do in the community. And I think as an ex-coach and as a parent and as an administrator, I love to win, but I love to see great sportsmanship even more. So and our boys, all our teams do well on the ice or on whatever surface they're playing on, but they also are just great kids, and that's really important. And that's just as important to me as a state title. So congratulations to Coach Conley and the boys for winning the Malloy Sportsmanship Award. And that is all I have.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Dr. Martin.
Just a few quick things. Our digital learning lead teachers. Okay. They are the teachers who kind of are models for some of our other staff when it comes to digital learning. They've been putting on before and after school sessions, anything from Canvas, Pear Deck, digital workbooks, you name it. They've been putting on sessions for their colleagues. So kudos to them. If you turn around, I don't think I mentioned our final math programs that are in the running for adoption next year. That's actually calling stage. For grades K through 8, illustrative math is one of the finalists. K to 5, Bridges is one of the finalists, and 6 to 8, Reveal is one of the finalists. So we will be heading into field testing right before April break, and we will be going into, I think, the second week in May right now, and then we'll have a final decision in the middle of May as to what we'll bring to the community for hopefully approval for next year. And then I have something on the agenda for science.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Claro.
I just want to give you an update on our tiered focus monitoring, continuous improvement and monitoring plan. So earlier this month, we submitted the final progress report for this project on the curriculum review for bias and also our institutional self-evaluation. And I'm very happy to report that the Office for Public School Monitoring reviewed our information and approved all of our information. So this means that there's no further action in this area. So our next steps will be next year we'll enter into the self-assessment stage of Group A items, which includes like student identification and assessment, IEP development, programming and support services, and then it continues from there. So then the following year there's an on-site, and then the following year they'll let us know if there's anything we need to correct. So
There's always something, right?
there's always something, but just
That's great.
closing out that.
If I could just say, and down the hall from Ms. Galera, we all are, and the work that she and her team put in on this, Cindy Whipple, all of the staff in the various buildings working together to help her on this, it's hundreds of hours. And I know the first thing that Mr. Kerr always talks about is, how do you quantify that? And it's, it's hard. These are one of those unfunded things that we do, but we do it, she does it, her team does it, and it shows that the programs that we have in place are top notch. And that really what the state wants to see happening in the classroom. So I just want to congratulate her and thank her for all of her efforts, because it has not been easy.
There's a group effort.
Yes.
Great, thanks so much. Mr. Miller?
Just a couple of items. Fiscal 23 budget. Kendra, Jeff and I met as budget subcommittee, and we looked at prioritizing the financial plan, and that'll be presented to the committee on April 5th, with a possible vote on the 5th or a vote prior to annual town meeting. The one key thing we're keeping an eye on is enrollment across the board. Just an update on our kindergarten numbers, because when we met, they were very concerning. We had about 120 kindergartens registered as of the first deadline. We extended the deadline, and we're up to 200 now. So all of a sudden we're up to 200. It's still a bit low, but it's much more in the range of where we expect it to be. So that's a good thing. So the budget will be coming forward next meeting. And then a quick transportation update. As you're aware, the transportation fee working group had met about 2 months ago, and we were looking at what we could potentially do to implement a fee for next school year. But we just decided past couple of weeks to not implement the fee for next school year. We're going to try to put in a registration process and begin that whole process with the bag tags for all the students. So students that just register and receive a bag tag will be able to take the bus. So that'll give us the data to move forward for 23-24 and make the changes that we've been talking about, the start times, consolidation of the elementary schools. So, and then potentially the fee for 23-24. But I think it's a good thing that we try to do this without burdening our families with any more fees. And if we can keep that as is and make everything work, we certainly will do so.
Great. Thank you very much. Any subcommittee reports? No. Great. Okay, it is time for public participation. Is anybody here from the public that would like to speak? No. Great. Public participation is closed. Student representatives, come on up.
Hopefully I didn't steal much of your time.
I'll find a way around it. How are you guys tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thanks for being here.
All right, so starting with the high school, we have Putting for Patients. It's hosted by the student council. It's going to be in the gym. It's on April 2nd. It's $10 to enter. You have a team of 4 people, I believe, and all of the proceeds go to the Jimmy Fund. Then we have the High School Theater Festival, which was on March 19th, and it was $5. We have on, is it the 9th? Yeah, the 9th, we have an Easter egg hunt hosted by Student Council. We have, the Key Club is hosting a Smart with Money fair this Friday. Then we had the dodgeball tournament, and DECA was awarded at their conference last week.
In elementary schools, there are parent-teacher conferences happening. As well in Amesway and Martinson, they're having enrichment presentations for grades K through 5. And in Daniel Webster, they're having their book fair.
And across all the schools, MCAS testing is beginning. At the high school for the sophomores, we're taking it today and tomorrow, and then again in May, right now for ELA. At the middle school, there's the MCAS infrastructure trial with all the Chromebooks to make sure that the Wi-Fi will keep up. And then, yeah, the 5K. The Power of One Awards were awarded to everyone at FDMS, or not everyone, but the recipients at FDMS. And report cards will come out on April 8th.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our NBA update. Mrs. Marbles, come on down.
Mrs. Marbles, remember the microphones are broken, so speak up.
I'll do my best to make sure my voice carries. Sarah Marples, President of the Marshfield Education Association. I appreciate the courtesy. Thank you. Just very briefly, I want to thank Tom Miller and all the people who have done so much, in this instance with the race, to support our educators. I can't tell you over the years, I won't tell you how many, I have watched the support from the community grow every year, and we have been able to institute little test runs of new things in education that have eventually become full-blown agendas and tryouts in the school district that have benefited our students and benefited our teachers. So I want to thank the community of Marshfield and all those people who organize and work on this, because it takes a lot of people to get great ideas and then implement them, and it really has been a gift from this community to the educators, and I want to thank you for all of that. And hopefully, we will move forward now to warm weather, and we will all enjoy a lovely April, fingers crossed, and we thank our parents for the support over the past almost 2 years now during very, very trying times. And we all know that some of the challenges we faced haven't gone away completely, but I think on the whole, we have all worked together to make it as successful as we can for our students, and we'll continue to do that going forward in the future. So thank you to the people of Marshfield, to our administration, to our teachers, and to our students for making this one of the best districts, not just in Massachusetts, but in the country. Thank you. And your scores are better than Duxbury. Just saying.
I see the end meeting of that.
Thank you so much, that was great. All right, so I'm going to move on to the old business here. We have the 23-24 academic calendar. This looks like a second read for us. Did you want to make any comments about
No,
that?
I haven't changed any. There was a question that came our way informationally. So again, this is not for this coming year. It's the year after. We would like to have 2 years of calendar set. So this would have us teachers coming before Labor Day again that year on the 28th of August in 2023. All goes well. We are wrapping up on June 19th of that year.
Okay. Mr. Greer?
I have a question, but it's for something else.
Oh,
My brain's not calibrated yet.
okay. What's your question?
It's a different one.
On the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I just clarify?
Sure.
Tina, you said school will get out June 19th, but it looks like it's June 10th.
I'm sorry.
That's 180 days, is that
I'm
right?
reading it wrong. I'm adding the, I saw the
I saw the
19th.
shaded box.
The site-
Okay, I wanted to make sure I was reading it correctly.
So my error, sorry, June 10th, June 10th. I'm sure the kids wouldn't mind the 19th.
Well, don't jinx us. Okay.
June 10th.
Motion to approve the academic calendar for 2023-2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got that, Mr. Przersky? Mrs. Przersky, sorry.
Got it.
All right, we're all having a moment tonight, it's fine. We all are, yeah, okay. All right. So our school committee calendar. Okay, sure. Go right ahead, Mr. Greer.
Yeah, retreat.
Yeah.
Is that on the calendar?
We do not know. Certain times, certain events are not on the calendar. We could add that. I mean, it is our, we do have a date set. Early August. Yeah, that's what we typically get on the agenda, on the calendar, because it's also a working day, but we can throw that in there.
All right, yeah, I gotta work, it's not,
Yeah.
it's nice day working.
Yeah. So I'll get that to you. I believe it's August. I don't have it right. Is it August 5th going?
Give me 1 second.
That jumps out at me for some reason.
Third and 4th of August.
The third and fourth,
So the
okay.
meeting would be the first, would be, 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Okay, you got that?
August.
Of August.
August 3rd.
Yep.
Mark that, put it in your calendar. Okay.
Steel trap.
Right. I can tell you right now that I'm not available on August 23rd, so we might need to. No, I'm not available on August 23rd, so we might need to move that. This is a comedy show. Okay, all right, well, we don't want to. Yeah, no microphones, we're good. Okay, so let's see here.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Motion to approve the school committee meetings calendar for 2022 to 23.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, so new business here. We have the Ames Way Library dedication. Assuming you guys already want to come over and tell us about this. It's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you very much for entertaining us tonight.
No, you came on a good night. It was a good one.
So, Amesway School was fortunate to reopen in 1995, and Rebecca, or Becky Sherris, as she was known to us, was the librarian to reopen at Amesway School. She was given an empty room because when the school closed, all of the books were dispersed at the other schools. So she reopened the library with nothing in it. There was nothing in it. It was an empty room. So from that empty room, she built a library, which at the time when she left had over 6,000 books in the library. So she worked diligently for the students of Amesway School to provide them a top quality library. And she had a love of reading herself, and she always would purchase new books and say, "Bill, how can I pay for these?" And then she'd put them in the student library. So as we referred to it, that the library at Amesway School was the heart of the library. It was open whenever a student needs to go there, or a teacher would send a student there. Back in the old days when they actually did research, because this wasn't around, she had a complete collection of research material down there as well. So she was on multiple committees across the district. She, in fact, at one point, every librarian except a high school worked as a volunteer under Becky as a library volunteer at Amesway School. So all of the librarians at the elementary schools all worked with Becky as volunteers, and a middle school librarian was an Amesway School parent that volunteered with Becky and then moved on to get her own position at the middle school. So she left an imprint on all of the librarians in the district at that time. With her untimely passing this past fall, we thought there'd be no better testament to all she had done for Amesway School than to name the library in her honor. So, and her family was in full support of that, and her family, in addition to this, if this is approved by the school committee, they are also going to be starting a scholarship at the high school in Becky's name. So, and her daughter did go to the middle school, I guess when she got here, and she ended up as the PTO president at the middle school as well. So, she has been involved in lots of things in the town. So we think this was a fitting tribute to her and all she had done for Amesway.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks for the question. So
Sure.
I think it's a great idea. The one thing I'd like to know is the library, does it currently have a name? Or was it previously named prior to closure?
No, it's the Amesway School Library. There's no other name on it.
Okay. And that was the case prior to its closing also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's nothing.
There's no name associated.
I just remember going to the library and Mrs. Hendrickson was in there, and that's all I know about it.
No.
No, there's no name associated.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So just really quickly, first of all, thank you. We appreciate it. We know this is something that takes some effort. We've been on the school committees almost 7 years, or 8 years, and I think we've been on a few as well. I think we've only done a couple dedications. It's something that we take very seriously. Probably one of the most serious pieces of our job when deciding this, and clearly she had a major impact on the school, on the folks that worked with her, the folks that learned from her as professionals, but most importantly on the students. I've had an opportunity to speak to a few friends of mine from Marshfield who remember her very fondly. I knew her in passing and had some nice conversations with her. It's just such an awful thing when she passed away, and I think that this policy is a rigid one for a reason, and it's also rigid to make sure that we do dedications for people like Becky. So I'm looking forward to voting for it and appreciate you bringing it forward.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say thank you for writing this letter here. I never knew Becky, but you summarized her very nicely in this letter.
Thank you.
I was also happy to see that Mrs. Boyd, who couldn't be here tonight, is on your school council, and she is in full support of this, so thank you very much. I know it's always really hard when you lose a member of your school community, so my thoughts and prayers are with you, with the loss of your friend.
So just one more quick question. So if this is approved, other than a name, are you putting a plaque there, or are you doing?
A plaque and a picture of her, so it would go with it.
Very nice.
Did you want to?
No, I read it, but
Oh, okay.
I read a lot, so I'm just...
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
Even to have Becky as a librarian, so sometimes readings.
No, actually, I knew Becky very well. She, even from her daycare days,
Yes.
with my oldest son.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to rename the Amesway Library in memory of Becky Shives.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
We're looking forward to your dedication, sir.
Yes, please invite us.
As a matter of fact, her memorial service will be on April 2nd, and we're hoping, and we were waiting for your approval, but April 1st at 3:30 at Amesway will be when her family's coming in for her memorial service. We're hoping to have that. And Mike Sleeper has offered to do her portrait.
Nobody better.
That is so
That is
nice.
awesome.
It's all good.
Thank you. That's great. You're so welcome. Mrs. Krasarski, can you put that on our calendars? That would be amazing. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll get that on the calendar. Yeah, for sure. But April 1st, I'm gonna write it down, but we'll rely on Jody here. Okay.
Hasn't failed us before.
Nope, not yet. Okay, MHS DECA trip.
Michelle's there.
Come on over.
It's one of those annual events because our deck team does so well.
Yeah.
But it also creates kind of a bit of a logistical nightmare because when there's additional events, and Michelle will go through this, but we have to act kind of quickly sometimes, quicker than normal when we're looking at overnight travel or out-of-state travel. So that's why she's here today to talk about this very exciting opportunity.
Yes, so thank you, and thank you for having me. So March 10th through the 12th, we took 57 students from our chapter at the high school, and we went to our state career development conference, and we had a really great run. So out of the students we brought, 4 of our students scored high exam scores throughout the state. We got 13 finalists on stage with really nice, like big Olympic medals. And we had 6 students qualify to compete at our international conference next month in Atlanta. And besides that, throughout the school year, our students have been working really diligently on raising money for charitable causes through state DECA, for the Marshfield Food Pantry, getting our school store certified nationally, and that earned us 12 additional leadership spots for our students. So we have hopefully the ability to take 18 of our students to Atlanta to represent not only Marshfield High School, but also Massachusetts for our state. And they would get to network with students from all over the country. Hopefully some of our international students will be coming into the conference as well. And it's just a wonderful and amazing experience for them. So I have the ability to be a part of it my senior year in high school, so I always love my students to have the same opportunities. But they'll be able to compete, network, and really kind of show off their leadership and marketing and business skills and represent our wonderful community. So the trip would be leaving actually right towards the end of April vacation, so it would be April 22nd through the 27th. And they would be, like I said, the 18 students going with 3 chaperones. So it would be Miss Ford, Mr. Stanford, and Mr. Lynch, who is filling in for Mrs. Stanford, who is out on maternity leave. And the 3 of them will be taking them and to be traveling to Atlanta, you know, for the few days to represent Marshfield and compete, you know, on the national stage and see how well we can do as a group and an organization. And so Ms. Ford has laid out some of the travel plans. So as of right now, because it's a Saturday, parents would be bringing their students to the airport where we would meet, and then we would fly directly to Atlanta, and then we would be staying at the Sheraton down there with Massachusetts. So we stay as a state, and then they attend a bunch of different networking events. They do a lot of team building. Competition would take place over the course of a few days, and then hopefully we'll have some finalists, and then they'll have our final leg of competition, and then they'll have the grand award session on Tuesday night, and then they would fly home on Wednesday the 27th. and then we arrange transportation back from Logan to Marshfield High School. So the cost is about $1,200 per student, depending upon airfare, so the prices, as we know, change. And so we have done really well with our own fundraising this year for a chapter, and money that we have been earning and raising through the Rams Den, through our store. So DECA would contribute $350 per student, so the students would be probably out of pocket about $850 in total. And they are working on some fundraising efforts for that as well to help bring the cost of it down. So the kids have been, anticipating a decision, and they've got their candy bars ready to go. I think they might do their annual spring cleanup as well to help raise some funds throughout the community as well, to kind of offset some of their costs. So they're excited, we're excited, and so I didn't know if anybody had any questions or any further details. Mr. Britt?
So yeah, I guess the first one, and I asked this for everything, so, we have students that are on free and reduced programs. If there are any in DECA, is the price adjusted accordingly for that?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
we have that happen all the time. And so if students have a financial hardship, we wouldn't want that to prohibit or limit them from going. So those are arrangements that we make directly with the student and their parent or guardian to make that happen.
And then I just want to throw in a comment, this is a great program, I've had two of my kids have gone through it in the past, and it cost me a fortune, but it was well worth it.
It is, and we do extremely well.
If you look at the amount of students that we have representing the district, that's
Yes.
amazing.
Imagine if all 6 of your kids.
Oh, yeah, I'd have to move into the house.
Just
Go right ahead.
very quickly wanted to say that it's an awesome, talk about sustained success. I mean, DECA every single year has something like this. And Megan Ford's a friend of mine from high school, so congratulations, Ms. Ford, and to you too. I mean, it's no coincidence that when you take over, and that's really when everything started to stay steady and just continue to grow for DECA. So I don't know if anybody else had anything to say, but I figured put the motion out there now to make a motion to approve the DECA trip from April 23rd to 26th to Georgia.
I just want to say one thing before I say second. I'm so excited to see our students going on trips like this again.
Mhm.
Like, this is so
Yeah.
exciting.
Agreed.
We had years of all these trips and then they were gone. I'm so excited for you guys to go and to go to this. So I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm really excited too. You already know that, though.
Yes.
You know how I feel about business and experience and the community. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your dedication.
Thank you.
You're awesome. This is
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. You're up.
Hang on.
You're up, Dr. Martin.
I actually have a few friends from the middle school.
Oh, awesome, Martin. Come on, my friends.
You can if you want to. You're just on the spotlight. You can come up. Sure, why not? So, yeah.
I'm not sure.
The dynamic duo. That's trouble.
I didn't say they wouldn't speak, but they can sit at the table. You can speak if you want to. You can talk however much you want. So I'm here to just put forward to the committee program adoption for the middle school science program. So Open SciEd, this is actually a grant through the Department of Ed and 1E Foundation. So there's different organizations that have developed Open SciEd, so it includes Boston College, Northwestern University, University of Colorado. They put together a different type of science program. So it's open source. The actual curriculum is free for download on the internet. It's not, you have to buy those lesson plans and things like that. However, what we do want to invest in and what this organization helps fund, the 1A Foundation, is the professional development for teachers to shift the way that they teach in the classroom. So instead of it being your traditional labs and your traditional teacher kind of led experimentation and all of that. It really is based on something that's happening in the world, like a phenomena, a science phenomena is what they kind of call it. And then the students kind of investigate this based on their questions and what they're interested in. So it's really a different way of teaching, and this is what we're really trying to get all of our teachers to do, is more of that inquiry-based learning. So because we have at least 15% of our students are economically disadvantaged here in Marshfield, we qualify for the grant. So the grant will fund teacher training over the course of 3 years, starting with this summer, 4 days over the course of the summer, 4 days in a row. 7 out of 10 teachers have actually agreed to get trained for 4 days over the summer on this new program, and they will be fully immersed in learning it as they were a student, as if they were a student, but also then how they would actually turn around and do this in their classroom. So it starts with 4 days of summer training. They have follow-up training during the course of the school year. They have coaching opportunities. And then by year 3, all of the 18 units, there's 6 units for each grade level. By year 3, the expectation is that it's fully implemented with all of our students and all of our grade levels. But in the meantime, they implement a couple of units at a time so that they can get used to the kind of teaching it takes. And they have what they've already created as other things that they're teaching at the same time. So as they're rolling this in, they still have their district developed, their teacher developed units that they've been working on. So it's really exciting. If you want to, so Sean is one of our champions. They call these teacher champions. So one teacher per grade level kind of is leading the charge, I'd say. They're kind of like our lab teachers at the elementary when we did coaching there. So it is Sean Baldwin for grade 8, Sarah Eugenio for grade 7, and Kelly Christian for grade 6. And then Ed Woodrow is our fearless curriculum coordinator leader. So he is all right, so I don't know, Sean or Ed or Maureen, if you want to jump in and say what you're excited about.
We met, Maureen, Ellen, Sarah, Kelly, and myself met with the grant organization, to review our grant with us. And they asked some really deep, probing questions about how we, came to a decision about applying for the grant. Most of this came down to the fact that if education is headed this direction where it's really more student-driven, they're making decisions about where we're going. With everything we've gone through in the last couple of years, now would be the time to make the change while we're still in the method of adjusting a lot of what we do. So I think that's where we're headed. So it's a monumental task. Yeah. It's a big change. It's a lot of shift for us to take the drive force out of ourselves and put it in the student hand. And we're looking forward to seeing what that really looks like. It's a time.
So much for fearless.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm fearless. I'm actually, it's like exciting, but also like terrifying at the same time.
And I think, as a building leader who's seen some change in how we've done read English, or ELA, as we say, reading in English, from the elementary Reader's Workshop model where they had the lab teachers, and when it was started to be brought up to the middle school, I remember Ellen and I, it's definitely different, but the lab teachers and having the time working with the experts, so with the curriculum experts, with English was TLA, with this it would be through the grant. We saw the amazing things it does for our students, and when you see the students interested, and I love the idea of the phenomenon. I never had if any of my former teachers are listening, I didn't have really dynamic science teachers. That wasn't an area of interest I loved, but I had great math teachers and great English teachers, so I developed and history. I developed a passion for them, and I think some of those ideas will really excite the students that maybe traditional labs might not do well for. So I'm really excited for that opportunity. And I think having educators, middle school educators, Bruce in particular, you know, who used to teach middle school as now part of the coaches was really exciting because they can work hand in hand with our teachers to really bring that to our students. So fingers crossed, we hear from the grant soon. So
Yes,
we're
so
excited.
what they wanted us to do was make sure that our school committee is on board and that we are ready to go. So once the decisions come down in a couple of weeks, we'll be doing that. So, yeah, Ed, did you have anything?
Just that this is going to be a real challenge. Given up what you've done all these years to, I mean, they come right out and they say, we're going to teach you how to do things totally different. And they went fearless. So we'll, we're excited about giving it a shot. It has a lot of good science backing it up. I just hope that we can make it work.
We'll make anything work.
Yeah, the magic.
Plymouth Public Schools actually adopted this program a couple of years ago, I think. I was going to show a video, but our stuff isn't working, so I can try and show that next time. They actually did a video that talks a little bit more in depth, but I did give you the website, the openscience.org, has a ton of information about the type of teaching that goes into phenomenon-based teaching and the storyline approach and student-centered. But it is exciting, and kudos to our teachers that are stepping up to do this training over the summer. I mean, ultimately, the cost, I know that's going to be probably Mr. Greer's question.
Yep.
We will pay stipends for people to get trained over the summer. I don't think it's fair to ask them to do that on their own time, so they will be earning a stipend to do that. But over the course of the years, we may have to, they will purchase some upfront materials and all of that, the durable materials, but there may be, almost like any science curriculum and any science program, there will be replenishment costs, there will be the typical costs that you would have at any time. And if we want further training, then that would be at a cost to us, but the bulk of the training is paid for by the grants. So it's exciting. So if you have any questions.
Out of curiosity, how much is the grant?
They don't actually come right out and say it. I mean, they kind of do a little bit of a budget. So for teachers, I'm looking at it, set amount per school up to $3,000 depending on grades offered. So $3,000 per teacher. After that, it looks like $28 per teacher. So it's, and then the durable equipment gets into, well, here's the grant award totals. So the totals between equipment, training, over the course, so first year they're planning on $14,000, year 2 almost $24,000, year 3 another $14,000. So over the course of the 3 years, that's kind of their projected how much this would typically cost.
Right.
So
your plan is to evaluate after 3 years to see how it went?
yes, that's kind of our commitment is the 3 years, and then we will see how it's working, but I really don't think.
I think that's great. I think it's a really good idea. I think it's exciting. It's, if you're not moving forward, you're not moving. You need to try new things and see if they work. And you know what? Sometimes they don't. And I think all of us have experienced that in our own lives, that we've tried something and we're like, well, that wasn't a great idea. But that's okay. You know what I mean? You just find another way. So,
But we also want to model that for our students.
Yeah.
They are going to take things and run with it.
Right.
Students are going to be running with things and.
Not if we get everything back tonight.
Were you not possible?
Oh, no.
Well, you said, that didn't work too well.
The training is a huge process.
Yeah.
We can't get this kind of training for what we're looking at.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to answer questions too, and something that we have no experience in at all.
Mm-hmm.
We've only seen what they do on video, and it looks great, but it's on video, so.
Right.
So, put on my thinking cap this summer.
The grant committee, and I didn't know a single one of them, and we met with them twice, once just to get some more information, because we couldn't go to some of the training sessions, and then for the actual interview for the grant, they are made up of like science professors, which really intimidates me, is not having a great science background, but also the teachers. So the research and what they put into it, really gives me the confidence, because of course I want to support the teachers and make sure we're moving forward with education, but they seem to be really know exactly how to do it well. And it is, they know it's different. They know it's an entirely different way of teaching. But I think our students are ready, that's what they're learning differently and through a different, not teacher-centered all the time, and definitely in English and in writing and in math. And we're doing the same in middle school. So social studies is doing some changes too. So I think it's exciting for education because I just can't get out of middle school. I've been there for like 25 years.
Just like Rich.
Maybe. I've had all those as kids too. It's exciting for kids to do things differently, and they're ready for that change. And coming out of what we've gone through, I love to see the aha moment, and I think that this is going to do it. I can't wait. I'm ready to do the training. I'm not going to do the teaching, Jeff, so don't ask me to do that because it's not going to be my year. I'm not certified there, but I will help.
You'll be ready.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know too that this is changing really the focus of the instruction, not of the frameworks or the curriculum.
Right,
We're still meeting the math frameworks. I mean, obviously Desi is behind this, so
It's aligned,
we're
yes.
not veering off course. Those that might be wondering, it's more the strategies for the classroom instruction that are going to be different, kind of taking it from a different lens.
So I guess some questions and comments. One, I noticed that Mr. Costello had you as a teacher, and he stayed as far away from science after that as he could.
Thank you.
So I'm just, I dabble in science here and there over the past 3 decades because of work, but I'm curious to see, before I support it, I'm not against it, I'm open-minded, but I'd like to see what it's all about, so maybe if one or all of you have some time, you can run me through it so I understand what you're talking about. I've looked at the website, and to me it was a little vague. So I'd just like to understand what this paradigm shift is going to be.
And
So-
Rich, I'm happy to share, Plymouth actually shared their video with me, so I can share that with you so that you can see. It is their science director kind of talking through what the changes are for their students and has some footage of their students actually in these conversations and leading the charge of their learning, so.
Yeah, so if it's what I'm thinking, it's probably good. Right, you're just shifting the style of teaching, not the core concepts, right?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the concept.
So as a result of this, you'd be piquing the students' interest in other subjects like math that they may be resistant to by piquing their interest in science.
Well, that's the hope, that we can
Yes.
somehow connect it to, their real world experiential things, and there is opportunity. I don't know how ripe it will be, but to cross disciplines and, try to interact in ways that we could make it fuller experience for everybody. But the hard part's going to be, making sure that we can keep aligned to MCAS and continue our progress in the positive direction. So we're going to just keep working on that and see how that goes. As I said, since we have no experience with this yet, it's kind of an open question for us too. And Sean being the champion and being at the training meeting might have a little more information, but we'd be happy to talk to you when we can.
The frameworks, when they were originally written for the state of Massachusetts, had very specific things and very specific grade levels that broke things up by development, but also disconnected things from each other.
Yeah,
So we learn heat as a chemical reaction, endothermic and exothermic reactions, getting off and taking in heat, before we know what a chemical reaction is in 8th grade.
Right.
We're always confused by that, and we always wanted to move things around. This section has already done that for us. They've already taken all of the pieces and connected them into 6 distinctive units instead of the 11 I think we have right now, which is a lot more doable at 6, and you can explore things. They're different lengths too. So certain units are smaller than others. So in 6th grade you have a fewer smaller units to get started in the year so you can explore bigger concepts later on, which is, I think, a really helpful way to do that. I think by shortening the number of units we're running, we actually get deeper. I mean, I go 100 miles an hour, and Ed's always trying to tell me to slow down, get deeper, that kind of thing. So I think this is actually going to do that for us and let us explore concepts a lot more in depth.
Well, I figure there must be something to it if, you know, people as experienced as both of you willing to shift your paradigm.
As I said, I'm not fearless anymore. This is going to be a huge shift in the way we do things. And it's both exciting and intimidating because when I go in my classroom now, I know exactly what's going to happen and exactly how I want that day to go, except for perhaps the oops days. But this is going to be something where even when I start getting training, I'm going to be in the student seat. So I'm hopefully going to use that experience to be able to turn around and reflect better on what they're getting out of it. You know, so I'm excited for the change, but change, I'm a Taurus, that's all I can say about change.
No, student voice seems to be a big shift. They have a lot more input in their own education, so this is a huge leap to that. And,
So,
like I said, the time is now.
So you're implementing this from the middle out, essentially, right? As opposed from top down or bottom up, right?
You mean from the middle school?
Actually, it's my understanding, it's only a middle school program.
It is.
It's only
Only
one.
for grades 6 through 8. Right now.
Okay, because they say K through 12 and then what's it?
Right now, the grant is for 6 through 8.
Right.
So that's the bulk of, I think, their training at this point is grade 6 through 8.
Right, I understand that, but we're implementing something from the middle out as opposed to top down and bottom up, right? So, my only concern with this, will there be a disconnect coming up from elementary school? Or going from middle school into high school with a different style of teaching?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think good teaching is good teaching. And as I said, I don't come at it, Rich, from the science, like a real strong science background, but it's about curiosity for the student. So they're going to have this really kind of curious phenomenon that they have to explore, and then it will help with problem-solving skills. And what I gathered from the different meetings we had and from what I read, because it is a change. You know, the teachers are going to be working with their coaches and taught how to do that. How do you help facilitate those problem-solving skills? And I see this as for most middle school kids, and they'll all come at it from a different, you know, pace probably. And like they talked a lot about, don't ask me about cells, but Kelly Christian, who's his grade 6 champion teacher, was really excited to talk about the cells unit. I'm like, I can't wait for that cells unit because I want to relearn about this and just how because she really explored that. And her curiosity and how we can have the kids build that curiosity. For me, it was like, and I don't know if you saw that, Ellen, I was like, oh, that's really, I can't wait for this. Because, and I think that's where from the kids, and the teachers do a great job, and they do these crazy labs, and, you know, they tell us they're going to be burning sugar, and I make sure everyone knows that it's going to be okay because of the smell.
I think I understand.
The students are going to be doing this. Like, they're going to be, like, researching and, like, oh, you know, so why is it a smelly hallway in Furnaceburg? I'm joking about that because I don't really know, but, like, I think that, and then they'll help facilitate. So their roles go from really the person with all the knowledge directing it to the kids kind of, you know, doing that. It is a huge paradigm shift for teaching, but I think the curiosity, and we have to remember that our elementary school teachers are lovely, and I am a certified elementary school teacher. No one wanted me to teach science when I taught that level, but they're science experts. So when they get to 6th grade, they're certified in science. So that expertise is slightly different. Does that make sense? And then high school is even way more.
I think I understood his question a little differently, though.
Oh.
6th grade is a really good transition point from the kids coming out from the elementary school because everything is brand new in 6th grade. So that training that they got in elementary school is really good basic training according to the standards and stuff. But then they're going to get into 6th grade and they're going to get this experiential science program over the course of 3 years. How that translates into the high school is still a question mark. I think that's what you were talking about. Because if they go from this student-centered, you know, program that they're doing in the middle school and then end up in a traditional classroom in the high school, there could be some you know, not as smooth a fit as we get now. Because we know now the way we're doing it dovetails right into 9th grade. Over the course of the next couple of years, as we see how this pans out, that gives us, I guess, opportunity vertically to kind of share some things with the high school and maybe, they already do things in a kind of unique high school-y way now, but maybe this way will give them an opportunity to broaden their base of work into more experiential things that the kids may not be prepared for now. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be opportunities in those schools to then investigate opportunities that might be community related or things like that in some of the upper level classes. Because at the high school, you only have those two MCASs that you have to really worry about. So in an environmental science class, for example, there's no reason why they couldn't do experiential work right here in the community with the Herringbrook or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, there's possibilities for this to grow as an experiment going forward. But I understand, like you, I have those same trepidations. How are those kids gonna transition? I'm even concerned, and this is just putting a little too much out there maybe, if we get this first unit in the first part of the school year, and then I don't get any more of that new stuff until the next year, how am I gonna make what I'm doing now married to what I'm going to be doing new? That's one of my big questions going forward as the teacher, and I don't know the answer to that yet.
But I think that's what the coach did.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, I'm willing to take that chance, but I can't answer that question for you now because I don't
Here's
know.
the other thing, it does say K to 12, but what it does, so elementary and high school have not been developed yet. So the development for elementary is starting this fall, the fall of 22. And high school won't be available until January 24. So it really is, the program itself is starting from the middle and going out. And for elementary, we will be looking at science probably my guess is probably in 2 to 3 years for different science materials in the elementary school. So it's kind of,
I'm not opposed to it, I'm just curious about it.
It's going to be,
It's
definitely.
been ours,
It's going to be
it's-
exciting, yeah. I think it dovetails with the work of UDL has been going on throughout the district for the last year plus. I mean, University of Vermont Design for Learning, where we're trying to find how best to meet those kids at the moment, at the spot where they can learn best and how they can learn best. And it's different for every student. It might be different for every grade level. So this is kind of taking that and putting it on steroids.
Yeah, so given that, how do you measure success?
well, they still will have to take the MCAS. And there are still assessments.
They still benchmark.
They are still,
Conversation on MCAS.
there are still benchmark assessments within the program. It's not like a free-for-all. They're still going to have assessments. Some of them might be performance assessments, which we don't do a whole lot of in this district. But there could be there's paper pencil assessments, there's formative assessments.
So you have a plan for measurement, that's, I mean, I don't need to get into the weeds on it, but I just want to, I don't like MCAS, you don't want to get me no conversation on that, because then
You couldn't pass it.
even though we're on cable, I probably shouldn't say some of those words, but, other metrics are fine. Yeah.
And we will follow it very carefully, and I think the high school will be able to tell us, like when the kids get up there, what changes they see.
We might be developing some really cool interest in different science topics, and you might see a growth in physics perhaps, because we've explored physics really deeply,
What
which
I
is
need
great.
right now, I need biochemists, I can't find them, so if you can.
You gotta give us a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna shut this down. Okay? Yeah. So did you want to say something?
Yeah, my question is,
Okay.
is this something that needs to be approved at this meeting? I know the grant, you said that for the grant, they want us to have a show of support from the committee. So
I
it's something
mean,
we need
if we can, if we can't, then they.
Because I feel comfortable, I was going to make a motion, Madam Chair, to approve the adoption of a new middle school science program at the fourth meeting in December.
Sure, hold that thought. Did you want to say something?
Just really quickly, I just wanted to thank you both and all the other teachers that are willing to take this on. I regressed back to being a middle school teacher and I was like, oh, this is big. So kudos to you all for being up to that challenge and for doing that for the benefit of our students. You both have been educators for a long time. You know what you're doing, and now to kind of relearn all of that, I hear you that it's a lot, and as a middle school soon-to-be parent, I appreciate you taking this on, and I know that our kids are going to benefit so much, so thank you.
Sean's been there long enough to have you in class.
You're 25 right now.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all pans out. So good luck. Okay, so you made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Yeah, and I'm only abstaining because earlier I had asked for more information.
That's fine.
But I'm not against the program.
Okay. Mrs. Pizarski, you have that? Okay. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
We have a set of minutes from March 8th here. If everybody can just take a look at those, please. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, I think that's it for now. Just before we adjourn, I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege to recognize our fearless leader over here, Mr. Granatino. I'm going to try really hard not to cry. I just want to wish you well in your recovery, your recent diagnosis. Thank you for sharing that with the district. We know that you're in good hands. You are such a great guy, and it's so awesome to work with you, and I have so much respect for you and what you do for this community. And I'm crying now, and I'm making everyone else cry, but I really love the big guy, and thank you for everything you do for us, and we wish you all the best, and we have a little thing for you that we'd like to present to you.
This is one on the agenda.
And you need to open it, you know, yeah, and you know the whole time, just hurts. Yes, you have to. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We wish you all the best.
This will be a great hand, but we better hands it up here. So,
No.
Alan, Amy, and Tom, and our principals and teachers, they got it from us. We'll be good. Thank you.
Awesome. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Roll call.
Stetson?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Greer?
Yes. Thank you very much.